Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to DDP. I'm your instructor, Mr. Schwartz. In today's lesson, I want to welcome you to the Paper Tower Challenge. You'll be given a specific list of materials and constraints. Your challenge is to build the tallest possible tower that you're able to. Let's get started. Okay, so this is going to be the third entry in your engineer's notebook. Move myself up here. All righty. Let's get into it. So this is going to be your design brief. The problem statement is going to be Brooklyn Technical High School wants to showcase the design and engineering skills of its freshman students. Design statement: to design and build a freestanding paper structure that is stable and attractive to look at. In order to have a freestanding structure, you must have a base of some sort. I don't know if it's specifically written in this presentation, but you need a base and figure out how that's done. So that's just an added element that you're gonna have to think about. Your client is Brooklyn Technical High School. Your target consumer is Brooklyn Technical High School students, teachers, and visitors. So this is just about showing off your big brain skills and your thinking, brainstorming, and all of that. Okay, so your constraints must be made from no more than 2 sheets of 8.5 by 11 paper. So that's typing paper, 2 sheets of typing paper, and 1 foot strip of clear tape. So 1 piece of tape that's a foot, 2 pieces of typing paper. It must be at least, to start out with, at the very minimum, 1.5 feet high. It must independently keep an upright position and have a base, like I said. Must be completed within the time allowed. And that'll be between assignments. So you have however long you have until this is due. Okay, so you're going to record the following in your engineer's notebook. Is it aesthetically pleasing? So design has aesthetics attached to it. Is it attractive? Is it not attractive? Think about it as if it were a product that you were going to put on the market. Would someone buy it? A lot of what we buy is based on how it looks, believe it or not, and how it works secondly. Was it constructed collaboratively by all members of the group? This was originally a group project where you brainstorm together. This still may be, I haven't decided yet, but I'm going to present this to you as if it's an individual assignment. So this is something that you'll be doing yourself. Was it improved in the redesign process, if time allowed? So was there a first attempt, a second attempt, a third attempt? That all needs to be recorded because it's part of the overall process, and the process is important. So those are your constraints. That's your criteria. All right, let's wait for the curtain. The challenge timeline. Okay, so this is an additional set of constraints because the time that you do it in, time is a constraint. So 10 minutes to share, brainstorm, sketches, and plans. So this could be if you're doing it by yourself, with just brainstorming with yourself. All right. You will have to do a sketch of your original plan and your construction of it. Okay, so I want to make that very clear that in your engineer's notebook, one of the graphics that is included is a sketch of your prototype, which is the practice, 3D model. But in this case, it's just going to be a drawing of it. The drawing needs to be annotated. It needs to have the height. It needs to have the materials. It needs to have any sort of detail that you want clear and apparent to the viewer. You need 10 minutes to obtain materials, 30 minutes to build, to test it, and to share it. You don't need to share it with a classmate. You can share it with somebody in your own home, your brother, your parents, whoever you want, a friend over Skype, or not Skype, Zoom. I don't know if people still use that. Okay, 20 minutes to redesign. So if something doesn't work, this is a cushion period for you to say, okay, I'm not under the gun time-wise. I still have 20 minutes to make this work. So you're going to be redesigning in that time. 15 minutes, clean up. And so the whole thing should just take this amount of time and no longer. All right. So this is from beginning to end. Deliverables, what you're going to be responsible for. Updated E&B table of contents. Of course, with each new entry, you're going to update the table of contents as well. 4 brainstorm sketches in your engineer notebook. I want to clarify this. The 4th will actually be your final drawing, your final prototype. The first one, the first brainstorming sketch is going to be your very first idea and prototype. Your last one is going to be your final drawing, which is going to be inked and colored. The 2 in between are going to be however you modified or evolved your design, and any step in between the first and the last prototype. So that's how that's going to be broken down. So when I say 4 brainstorming sketches, it's really 3 brainstorming sketches and 1 final drawing. So the next one is 1 final design or sketch to be copied or photographed. That's what I'm talking about, that 4th. You might want to, if you're feeling like it should be on its own separate page, then you should photograph it, insert it into your engineering notebook. However you decide to do it, if you do it with traditional materials on a separate piece of paper, photograph it, insert it into your engineering notebook, make sure it's well lit. But if you're doing it digitally, which is perfectly okay, like with Photoshop or Illustrator, also insert it. Okay, so a completed paper structure, a physical model that was built, what's going to be inserted is going to be a photograph of that. Make sure that it's well lit. And yeah, so that's going to be another page of your engineer's notebook. Lastly is a written explanation in your engineer's notebook of your design process you and your group came up with. And that's only if you're using group work, but you're going to do it for your own thought process and how you decided to initially approach the problem, and then what changed from there, and what solution you finally landed on and why. This should include the measurements of the prototypes of your final tower. We want to know whether you went above the minimum height requirement and how you did that. All right. Also, the sketches that you do need to be annotated. I want to make that clear. That means that you should have, if you're applying the tape in a certain way, then you want to show how that tape, you've decided to make that tape, what the measurements are, how you're planning on using the materials. You can use arrows, but there should be notes around your brainstorming sketches that make it clear what your intentions are, what your process is, so anybody could see it and be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Moving on. This is an example of an engineer's notebook, an analog one, non-digital. So these drawings that you do, they could be on lined paper, they can be on whatever. You just need to snap a picture of it and include it. You can include it in the same document as your design brief in your Google Doc. So it can just be an additive or on the same page. In fact, I encourage it so it's all together. If you, like I say, want to do the final drawing itself, should be on its own page. If it's not, that's okay too. But I just want to draw your attention to how this page is numbered on the top left and the formal structure of format of how things are laid out. Okay. These are the other 2 sketches. Also look to see how it's signed and then signed by a witness. Okay, so this should be standard stuff. All right. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with a brainstorming video that hopefully will help you. I encourage you to watch it. It's attached to the Google Classroom assignment, and you'll find it there. And that is it for this assignment. So remember, there's three main things that I'm going to be looking for. I already went over them. I can't wait to see what you come up with. I can't wait to see your sketches, and I can't wait to see how you approach this challenge and beat the minimum height requirement. Anyhow, I will see you at the next video, and until then, take care. And for any follow-up questions, you can always reach me at office hours. Bye.